disaster. Speed away from the holy mind. Pride, I swear I never thought it would matter. If I'm gone by now, all my weakness keep on linger on repeat like it will be my favorite song. Oh, I know I should be moving on, but you got me good, you got me good. I keep on driving till it bends, still it feels like I pretend. Keep on driving and driving along the road to never end. Lost my head over my back between the jars and bottle jack. Just me and all the red lights. Keep on driving and driving. In the heat from my hot California, I forgot how you looked like in rain. I swear I never thought it would matter. If I'm gone by now, all my weakness keep on linger on repeat like it will be my favorite song. Oh, I know I should be moving on, but you got me good, you got me good. I keep on driving till it bends, still it feels like I pretend. Keep on driving and driving along the road to never end. Lost my head over my back between the jars and bottle jack. Just me and all the red lights. Keep on driving and driving. All the memories just lingers on repeat like it is never gonna stop. I can't help myself from feeling all alone, but you got me good, but you got me good.
Good morning and welcome to this stream this morning where I'm going to be going through WordPress. Now, WordPress is such a widely used platform to create your website. I think actually currently it's something around 40% of all websites on the internet use WordPress. So it is so popular, but there is a bit of a learning curve, and there's different themes and plugins that you can add to your site. And, if you've never used it before, it can look a little bit daunting. So that's what I want to be going through today, is making sure that you know how to use WordPress so that you're confident to go and make those changes yourself in your website. So that's what I'm going to be covering today in today's show. Hi, my name is Jason Kruger, and I help heart-centered businesses build and automate their online marketing systems. So I've been building websites now for over 10 years now on WordPress. Before, I used to hand code everything for all my clients. But once I discovered WordPress and the power of WordPress, I just didn't look back. I've been using it now, like as I said, for over 10 years, and I have seen the changes that have happened throughout those years and how it's progressed, as well as how the whole ecosystem around WordPress has developed, and all the new plugins and themes that have come and gone as well. So in today's video, I'm going to go through the basics of WordPress and show you your dashboard, how to create pages, posts, all those types of things, as well as install a theme and a few plugins. And these are going to be my recommended ones, and it's ones that I've used previously. Now, the theme and the kind of page builder plugin that I'm going to demonstrate today, I'm actually using their free version. Normally I do use their premium versions, but I want to make sure that people can just go and play around with these and see the power of them. And if they do want those extra features, then they can go out and purchase those as well. So let's get into WordPress and I will show you around. So this is actually a completely virgin install of WordPress that I actually just installed this morning. So I haven't installed anything, I haven't changed anything, I've just gone in and installed it, and it's just used one of the default themes. So as I said, this is just the kind of the homepage currently of your website. But if you log in, you're then shown the dashboard. Now you can customize this dashboard as you wish. You can just remove some of these boxes and drag and drop these around. But a lot of the time, this is just going to be a quick overview of your site. So this is just, like I said, a demo site that I've installed, and I haven't touched it. So this is just all kind of default settings currently. One of the first things that you might want to do is actually just give your site a proper name. So what we're going to do before we go into anything else, I'm going to go down to settings and I'm going to go down to general. And this is where you will name your site, give it a tagline. You'll see the URLs for your site as well. And yes, if you do try to go to that URL, you will be greeted with a username and password. It is password protected, so you won't actually see the site currently. So these are just your general settings. So in here, I can go and change this. And what this does, when you do change the site title and the tagline, this is what happens when you go and you see your site in a tab. So at the moment you can see it says Jason Kruger site, your super-powered WP Engine site. Now, WP Engine is the host that I have got this installed on. There are many others, and I do actively use actually 3 hosts at the moment because I host client websites as well. So WP Engine, SiteGround, and WPX Hosting are the 3 that I recommend, and I will put those links down in the description after this video so that you can go check them out. But I will create videos on those 3 hosts as well, just to give you the overview of what's different between them, and some of the features that I like. So I will be doing another video on that. So as you can see, it's got that at the top here. So if I go and change this, so I'm just going to call the Jason Kruger demo site, and let's call this WordPress for beginners. Now before I save that, there are other settings that I could change in here. So the site language, that will be dependent on where you are residing, so you can go in and change that. I'm in the UK, so I'm just going to change it to English UK, and it will then change the language of the site accordingly. You can then change your date format, your time format, and when your week starts. Is it Monday, Tuesday, whenever? And once you've done that, just click on Save Changes, and that has now saved. So if I go back to this page, which is the front page, and then refresh that, you'll see at the top here that has now been changed. So those are those settings that you might want to change. As we're in settings, I will go through the rest of them as well. Writing. So you can change whenever you write a blog post. You can choose what the default post category is going to be. Normally it's just uncategorized, and then you can choose what kind of format your post is going to be. Now with all of these, I normally just leave them as default. I don't change these at all. If I go to reading, this is where you will start changing the structure of your site. At the moment, we haven't got any other pages set up, so I'm not going to change any of these settings at the top here. We will come back to that once we've created a couple of pages, so I can show you how this works. When you visit the blog section of your website, a lot of the times it will show you, a certain number of posts, and this is where you set it, and the default is 10. But again, you can go and you can change that. And all of these other ones here, again, I don't really change them. This is on here because this is a kind of a development site. This has been ticked so that Google and the other search engines are kind of pushed away when they try to crawl the site. So at the moment, because it's a development site, that's been ticked. But once your site goes live, you do want to make sure that this is unticked. The next one is discussion. And again, with a lot of these, I leave them as default. And this is all to do with when people comment and all that on your website, how you want that to work. So if you want to go deeper into this, I would suggest just Googling these. I'm not going to go too much into detail today on this because I just want to make sure that you get your site up and running quickly and you don't start going down rabbit holes and looking at all these other settings. Leave them as default. You don't need anything else. And if you do have any other questions regarding WordPress that I don't cover today, or you've seen something and you want a little bit more explanation, please leave a comment down below and I will make sure that I go through it for you. Now this next option is media. And this is going to be the default sizes for all your images. So we have the three kind of normal sizes that WordPress uses, which is thumbnail, medium, and large. And this is where you can change those dimensions. And again, I leave these as default. I don't need to change those. Permalinks. Now this is when you go and you visit your site. If you haven't changed this and then you start creating other pages, what will happen is instead of the page name coming up in the URL bar, it will come up with an ID number. So we do want to go and change these. And you can change the format however you wish. So this first one, it will show you what it will currently come up as. And especially for SEO purposes, and if you want to direct people to your site, you don't want to say go to my site, jasonkruger.com/p=123 or whatever. You don't want that. You just want to say go to my site, jasonkruger.com/about, for instance. So this is where we change that. And you can go and change it to all these different structures, day and name, month and name, etc. The one that I normally choose is the post name. So I just select that, and then I click on Save Changes. And that is really the only thing you need to change it to in this section. Privacy. So this is new settings that have come in now, especially to do with GDPR, to make sure that you do have a privacy policy on your site. So you can then choose the one that they kind of generate for you. But I would also urge you to go and look into this and create a proper privacy policy for your website. So those are the general settings that you want to go through and make some changes to. Now let's go back up to the top, and when you click on Dashboard, we've just come from home right at the beginning. They have another one here called Update. Now because this site is brand new, installed this morning, there are things on there that are a bit out of date. And when it comes to updating your site, I do urge you to make sure that when you do have a WordPress website, that you are making sure that the themes and the plugins, etc., are kept up to date. Now, some people say, well, I don't really know how to do it. WordPress does make it simple. One thing you do want to make sure is that you are backing up your site before you make any of these changes. Just in case something does go wrong, you always have a backup to fall back on. And the reason we update is, yes, for security. You know, if there are security vulnerabilities in the theme or in the plugin, these are normally found and fixed by the developers, and then they will send out an update. Just the same if you're using, you know, Windows or Mac OS, and they have these updates that you need to install. It's the same thing with your WordPress website. So please make sure that you do keep it up to date. So as you can see, I've got a few updates in here, so we're just going to quickly go through and update them. And because I'm using WP Engine, I get that message to ask me if I want to make sure that I've got that backup. Because it's just a demo site, I'm not going to go through that process at the moment. So I've now just updated my themes. I'm going to go back to the updates page, and we'll see what else we need to update. I can see that WordPress needs to be updated, and I've got a plugin here that needs updating as well. So I'm first going to update the plugin. Once that's done, go back, and now I'm going to update WordPress. And please, please, please make sure that you do have a backup before you do anything like this. Most of the time, nothing ever goes wrong, but it's always that 1% where something might go wrong. Your site then doesn't come back up, and it might show a maintenance page, or it could just show an error and no one can visit your site. So please make sure that you do have backups before you do any of this. And as you can see, it's now just giving me an overview of what the new version of WordPress does. So once I've done all of that, we can now look at posts. Now posts are going to be your blog posts. So if I go back to the website, let's just refresh it. At the moment, there are no other pages showing on here. It is showing me a recent post, which is just a default one that is installed by WordPress. And that's it. But if I wanted to create more posts, I would just go into here. I'm just going to click on all posts so we can see what's there. So you can see there's that Hello World one. And we can go in here and we can edit this if we wish. So let's go in. And this is the new block editor that you can use to build your pages. So you can go in here, give it a new title, put in all the content that you want, and then you can click on update if you've made those changes. And they do have other link options down the side here. You can give it tags so that you can kind of tag the same content together. So if someone clicks on the tag, it will bring in all that same content. Categories as well, so you can categorize your posts into different kind of folders if you wish, so that you can keep your site nice and tidy. But also it helps with SEO if you have the category as maybe one of your keywords that you are looking to rank for. The permalink, that's just going to tell you what the link is for the website, so you can see that that it's there, so you can see what that link for that post is. Featured image. Now this is something that you probably want to do, especially on posts, because depending on how your site is set up, it will show a featured image on the blog page. So this is where you can set that, and you just click on it and then add that image. You can also put a little excerpt on there, and it will give you an area for discussion. So if you don't want people to be able to comment on your post, you can just go and untick these. And then once you're done, you can then just click on update or publish, and then that will go live on your site. So let's go back. So these will just be all your posts. The next option is going to be media, and these are going to be all the images that you can add to your pages. At the moment, we haven't got anything. If you want to add images to your website, all you need to do, come here, click on add new, and then find it on your PC and just drag it across, and then it will upload them to the website for you. The next option is pages, and this is where you're going to build out all the pages for your website. So as you can see, they give you the privacy policy and a sample page. But the way that I like to start my sites off is I will create new pages. So I'm just going to click on add new. I'm going to give this a title of home, and I'm going to click on publish. Now, if you find that this block kind of editor isn't to your liking, you can install another plugin called Classic Editor, and it will kind of go to the old style of WordPress pages, which, to be honest with you, is my preferred way because it's how I've always used WordPress. So I know that inside out, so I normally just install that plugin because it's just easier for me to do it. So now I've got that home page, and while I'm at it, let's actually add a blog page. And the reason why I'm going to add a blog page is because I'll show you how that gets set. So now if I go back to my pages, you'll see I've got the home and the blog page. Now, when we were in the previous settings, we could set these in under the general settings. So if I go back to settings and I go to reading, I can now set the pages that I want for this for these options, because at the moment when I go there, it's just a kind of a default page for WordPress, which will just show all the blog posts that you have. So at the moment, because we only have the Hello World one, that's the only one that is being shown. But if I had more, these would be populated. So that's kind of the default setting for WordPress. But I want a proper page. So I'm going to go to the section, click on this one for static page. My home page, I'm now going to select as home. And my posts page, I'm now going to set up as blog. And once I do that, I can click on Save Changes. Now, if I go back to the front part of the website and I'll now refresh, you'll see that all of a sudden, that recent post has disappeared. I still have my title and all that on here, but that's just to do with the theme. But the rest is gone because this is now the home page. And it's actually the home page. So if I go back to all pages and go and edit home, and I can go in here and say, this is the home page of my website, and click on update and click on refresh. You'll see that now comes up on my home page. So that's how you'll create all the pages for your website. The next option is comments. And this is if you are getting comments on your blog posts, this is where it will show up. You can have a look at them. You can then approve them so that they do appear on your website. If they spam, you can mark them as spam or just delete them. Now for the kind of fun part of the website. And this is starting to look at using different themes and other plugins to build your site. So if I click on appearance and I go to themes, at the moment you can see I'm using one of the default themes, which is 2021, and they give you a few other of the default themes here. Now, the one that I build all my client sites on currently is called Astra. There are kind of two themes that I've been using, this Astra theme and the Beaver Builder theme. We're actually going to be using the Beaver Builder page builder to build out some of our pages. So what I'm going to do is I've just come to themes, and I'm going to search for themes, and I'm going to just search for Astra, and I'm going to install. Now this is the free version, so it's not going to have all of the features that I'm normally accustomed to when I'm building the site, because I have the premium version. But it will give you a flavor, and it still has great functionality so that you can use this to build your website. So I've now got that theme activated, and if I now go back to the front page and refresh, you can see it completely changes now. And this is now the new theme that we're using. Now you can just go in here and customize the theme and the look. So if I go click on customize, and you'll see it's going to give you this option here where you can see what's available in Astra Pro. So if I click on that quickly, you can see it's wpastra.com, and you can see what the prices are. So this one at the moment is $47 for the Pro, and that's all you need. But they also give you like the starter templates and all of that as well. So if that is something that you are looking to maybe do, then I would urge you to go and have a look at their website and get the Pro version of this theme. So if I click on global, this is what's going to just be used globally across the site. So your typography, so you can go in and you can choose which fonts and that you want to use. So let's just say we're going to use Verdana. We want to be 16 rather than 15. So this is going to just be all the font within your pages. And you can go and you can customize those a little bit. And then the same with headings. So I can go in headings, and let's say I don't want to use Verdana for that. I want to use, let's use this one because it's quite different and you'll be able to see it. So let's use Oswald for all my headings. So you can see that's now changed, and then I can also change the weight of the font. So I've now changed that to bold, so you can see all of that. And then you can also do it for kind of each heading type. So you normally have your heading 1s, heading 2s, heading 3s, and you can go and you can change all of those individually as well. Colors, we can change the text color, links, and all of that in here as well. And then the container, so that means this bit here, the bit that you can edit on your website. So normally the default is 1200 at the moment, so I'll just leave it as that. And then the layout you can change. So this kind of content is boxed, so meaning that this has got a box around it, and I can change that to full width. Excuse me. So you can see now I don't have that box around it, and it's kind of the full width of the page. Or you can go stretched, because if I have it contained, it will contain it within this limit here. But if I have it as stretched, it will then move to the sides of the screen that is being used to view your website. And then you can go in here and change some of the other layouts. So this is your kind of default layout, but you can do it for pages and blog posts and all of that as well. And then you have all your button colors. Now, the one thing that I normally have on my site, on my websites, I don't have these sidebars. So I normally go in here and just say no sidebar. You might have sidebars on your blog posts, so you could go in here and say, okay, I do actually want a right sidebar for my blog posts and also the archive, so that people can navigate the different categories, etc. bread crumbs, you can put those in, so that will be the links. You know, if you go to your about page, it will show those links down at there, so it just helps in the navigation, so you can set those here. Your blog, again, if we go to the single one, it's just going to give you some structure so that you can change. So if you don't want featured images, for instance, you can just switch those off. And then you can go into the design and change a little bit of that. Now, as I said, this is the free version, so they don't give you the full suite of things that you can do to it. But if you're just starting out, this is a great option to start using to build your websites. And the reason I opt for these, so the reason I opt for these themes, so the Astra theme or the Beaver Builder theme, is because they come with no bloat. They only have the bits and pieces that you need to build your website. If you buy a theme from a lot of these theme shops, a lot of the times they are very bloated because they try and pack as many features into them as possible to sell them. But a lot of times they are full of bloat, and they will take longer to load and potentially have other issues down the line. So I normally go for these themes because they are super quick to load, and you can customize them a lot more than if you just buy a theme kind of already made off the shelf. They don't give you a lot of options for customizations, and I've had it in the past where clients have said, "Oh, I've bought this theme, but I now wanted to do this and that," and then you have to go back and tell them, "Well, unfortunately, this theme can't do it. It's a theme that's been built already, and this is how it works. If you want those extra features, you need to change theme." So the next option here is going to be the footer builder. So this is where you can change some of the footer. So if I click on this, I can then now go and change some of this text that appears in this section here. So you can just go in there and change those and click on publish once you've done. And you can also change the design. So you actually think, I don't want the font to be that big. I can go in here and start changing it. So normally I set it to around 10 to 12. The other thing you can do in here now is the menus. So at the moment, this is just kind of the default menu that just gets auto-generated, but I can create a new menu. So I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to call this main menu. It's going to be my primary menu. I'm going to click on next. And then I can go and add the pages that I want in it. So I definitely want my home page and my blog page. At the moment, that's all I have. So that's all I want on there. So once I've done that, you can come out of that. You can see already here that those are now just appeared in that order. Widgets. So depending on your theme, you might have access to these or not. This theme does have widgets. So normally these are the widgets that might appear above this line here. So if I add a widget, for instance, and let's say, let's add a, let's just add text so you can see. So I've now added that in. We'll see if this has now been added. There must be another setting somewhere to enable the footers on this theme. So we'll have a look at that in a minute. Homepage settings. This is what we've already set. So we've got our home and our blog pages. An additional CSS. So if you are looking to do some other coding to customize other things more, you can add in additional CSS, but that's more for advanced users. So now once I'm happy with this, I can click on publish, which means now when I go to the page on the front end of the website and then just refresh, all of that has now changed. So let's just see if we have anything more about. Footers. No. Actually, here we go. So we can add them here. So let's just click on add. So let's go add widget 3. Publish. So if I now go back to this site, there we go, the text box that we just created. So that's under footers, and you can then just add all these extra ones in there. So once you click on publish, we can just click on this cross, and that is really everything over here that we've done. Extra options, it will give you all these extra options, and this is what you get when you have the pro version. So you can see all the extra customizations that you can do, and there are quite a lot. And you know, if you can, I do urge you to look into this because it is so powerful. Now the other plugin that I quickly wanted to show you, so if I go to installed plugins, at the moment there is a default plugin that's installed, which is the Akisme anti-spam. You do have to create an account to get that working. I normally use other services instead of this one, but you can activate it if you want and just follow the steps. To add new plugins, you can just click on add new, and if you've bought plugins, you can then just upload them. If not, you can just search for them. So this is that classic editor that I was talking about. So let's just install that so I can show you. I'm going to activate that. And then the other plugin that I normally use is Beaver Builder. Actually, we'll need to go. What I was doing is I was searching for ones that are already installed. So let's just search for this one. And these are page builders. There are plenty others out there. Divi is a very popular one, and so is Elementor. I have used those, but this is still my favorite one. So these are just the kind of the settings for Beaver Builder. So when you do have a license, you can go in here and put it in, but you will get a new version of the plugin anyway, so you can look to do that. But you'll get so many more modules. So you can see these are the kind of the basic modules that you can use with the free version. And what happens now is if I go to all pages, and let's go to the home page. When I go to edit, you can see this user interface has now changed because we're now using the classic editor. So you can see all the different options, but there's this new one here called Beaver Builder. But so if I click on this, what's going to happen is I'm now going to be taken to the front end of the website, and I'm just going to click on no thanks. And as you can see, all of a sudden there's some areas here that I can go and edit. And if I click on this little blue button here, you can see some of the extra bits that I can add. Now, as you can see, there are some pro ones that you don't have access to. But if you're just starting out, these ones that they give you will suffice. There's quite a lot of them already that you can use. And what's so powerful about using a page builder is that you can change the layout of your websites quite easily. So if I click on rows, for instance, you can see I can now add a 2-column row. So I can go in here, add that in. I could then do 6 if I wanted to, and I can create a whole new row. And then within this, I can go back. I can add a button in this one. And when I go in here, I could just go and change the text. It's going to take me to a link. I can then go in here, say select, and let's say, because we only have the one page published as well, so we're just going to click on blog, click on save. Now I have a button that when I click on that will take me to the blog page. I can add other photos in here. So I'll just go in here and then select my photo. I can add text, and I can add text anywhere I want to. So all of a sudden you can then start building this out. Now, as you can see, we have this home title here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Done, Publish. I'm going to go back to edit my page. And as you see here, there's some extra settings that you can change. And one of them is disable title. You can disable anything else you want on this as well. And then click on Update. And then if I click on Beaver Builder again, you'll see that that has now disappeared. With the rows, depending on how you've set the layout of your website, we can go and change the width of this row and go full width. Now, because we set it to be contained, it's now just going to take us right up to the 1200 pixel limit for this website. But you could go in there and change it so that all of a sudden it goes to the full width. Actually, sorry, we have done this full width because it's now gone to the end. The content here is still kind of contained. And even with that, we can change that and go to width, full width, and it will take it to the full width of that page. Which then means that we can go in here and change the colors of this background, for instance. And let's make it that color. So now all of a sudden I've got that full row over there. If I click on Done and Publish, and I go back to the front end of the website and refresh, you can see it's now changed that. So we can then now build any type of page that we want. And it's all because of Beaver Builder. It gives us so many different options that we can use. So we have all these different modules. And if you do buy the Pro version, I think it's $99. You get all these extra features as well. If we go to templates, they have the landing page templates, and they've got content page templates. So you could actually use these as a starter for your website, for instance. So let's just say we want to use this one here, and we're going to use it on our homepage. All I do is click on it. Because I've already got something on there, it's asking me, do I want to replace the existing content or do I want to append it to the bottom? What I want at the moment is I'm going to replace it. And all of a sudden, I've got a fully structured page that I can go in here and edit. And if there's something that I don't like, over here, I could just click on that, remove, and it's gone. If I wanted to add more things to it, I can just go back here to the modules, add any of these modules in, or I can go and create a whole new row anywhere on here. And if I click on refresh again on the front page, you can see it's completely changed. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back here. I'm going to go to dashboard. So that we go back into the editor, into the back end. So those are all those pages and everything like that. The plugins, users. We can go in here and just add new users if we wish. You just click on add new, and then you can give them a different role. Tools. A lot of these you will probably not use when you're starting out, so I wouldn't worry about those. So this is kind of my beginner's guide to WordPress. We have covered quite a lot in this video, but I will start going and breaking these different sections down and creating new videos going into those areas in a bit more depth, especially for Beaver Builder and the Astra theme, so that you can see exactly how we can go through and build those. So I will get that scheduled in, so keep an eye out for that. And I do hope that you've enjoyed the content that we've gone through today. And if you have, please look to click on the subscribe button and click on the notification bell so that you do get notified when I next go live or when I next post a video. So as you can see, WordPress is so powerful. Yes, there is a learning curve that you might need to go through to understand how it is, but it can be such a great way to build your website, because as I've shown you at the moment, I've just used free plugins to build some of those pages. The only thing that it will have cost me is possibly some hosting. And if you go with SiteGround, which is a hosting company that I use and I recommend to my clients as well, you can get one of their starter packages for something like £5 a month. And if they're having specials, probably even less than that. And that's mainly the only cost to starting a WordPress website. And if you use the tools that I've gone through today, you can get your site up pretty quickly, especially if you use some of their templates to already structure some of it, and then you can go and amend that and add your own brand colors, etc. But even if you wanted to go for the pro versions, it's probably $150, so just over £100 to get started with those pro plugins, which will have more features. Other plugins that you might want to look to install once your site is up and running is WordPress SEO, or it's actually now called Yoast SEO. That's probably the industry standard when it comes to WordPress SEO plugins. And again, I will go through that in more detail in another video, but you can install that and it will already start helping you to improve the SEO on your website. If your site is going to have a lot of imagery on it, then something like Smush or Smush It will help as well, because when you upload images, it will help to reduce the size of those images, which then in turn helps to reduce the load speed of your website. Those are probably the top ones just to get started. There are plenty of other plugins that you could potentially install, but then it just becomes more complicated. I think the ones that I've just mentioned are kind of the core ones, and it will help get you started to building your website. And if you do have any questions regarding any of the content that I've covered in today's video, then please leave a comment down below and I will make sure that I answer it for you. It might be in the comments, it might be in a whole new video for you as well. So please ask your questions down below. So I hope you enjoyed today's WordPress for Beginners tutorial, and I hope to see you on the next one.